All right, we are recording. So good evening, everybody. Tonight's class is going to be a little different than our normal classes. But first, I want to start off by reviewing the upcoming project and the deliverables for it, and some of the just requirements, because I just want to. It could seem like a pretty heavy duty, heavy project, heavy part of the assignment, but when we take a good look at what is actually required, this could be pretty easy for you all, especially with this being a group project. This could be pretty easy. You won't have to spend as much time as you may think you might have to spend. So we'll review that, and then got a few other points. I want to mention the quiz, pop quiz number 2 has gone live. So if you would like, you have a week to do that one, I believe. I think the due date is listed on it. It's 5 questions worth 50 points. You have 2 attempts on it. And of course there is feedback. So if you'd like to try it once, get the feedback, and then figure out or look into the information provided in the feedback to get the right answer, try it again, make it real easy for you. But let me share the screen and we'll go over the assignment, the Synthetic Human Basic Task Training e-learning prototype. So this is more people coming in. There we go. So really, the final deliverable is a PowerPoint file, and the things that you must include in it is some type of which is a good indication of yes. Sarah asked in the chat that if the pop quizzes are a good indication of how the midterm will look, and yes, it'll be very similar, very similar. Some of the user functions may be a little bit different in that you may be able to like postpone questions, go around, and you might see a few, but otherwise it's done on the same platform. So yeah, the Synthetic Human Task Training e-learning prototype. The only things that you must include is an introduction screen and some type of user interface with menus and buttons. There must be graphics in it, so you can't just do like a wireframe. It has to have some type of graphic pictures and not animations, but icons of some type. And there must be working instructional interactions. So when you click on a button, click on something, it must do something besides just the native go to the next slide. So that's gonna be necessary. When it comes to the assessment, you'll have to have at least 3 positive and 1 negative assessment feedback, either formative or summative. So what that means is that you must have a question or 2 or 3, and in those questions totaling, you must have at least 3 feedback. So when they answer the question, either by clicking on a multiple choice or clicking on a hotspot on a picture or whatever type of assessment that you end up creating, there must be some type of feedback, and you have to have at least 3 that say, yay, you did it, good job, and at least 1 that says, no, you didn't do it correctly. Here are some, here's how you can make it correct, or here is the correct answer. So that's what I mean by assessment feedbacks. Then there also must be some type of reinforcement method or material reference. So that would be a QRG, a job aid, some other document that's outside of the PowerPoint e-learning prototype that would be kind of a download. If this was a real e-learning prototype, it would be a downloadable file or an accompanying file that the user or learner would be able to download and use as reference later on for when they actually perform whatever performance that you're teaching. So I provided some examples of the e-learning that you could kind of model off of. These are they have a lot of interactions in them. The PPSX is a show, which means you just open it up and you run the e-learning, or you run the prototype as if it was an e-learning. But the PPTX is the same thing, but you can get into it and actually see how the interactions take place. And then the QRG is the reference material. So those are those examples. To go down the rubric, the interfaces. I get some folks joining us here. There we go. So going down the rubric, here are all the criteria and the points that you can get based on how you perform in each of those criteria. So when it comes to interface, The interface elements include menus and buttons that are thematically appropriate. So that means that if you were doing, let's say, an e-learning on how to change a diaper, you would use buttons that are appropriate. No, like little demon guys is a button, or no race cars. Unless, well, it could be a race car if you're teaching about maybe something associated with race. You're going to associate race cars to changing diapers in some way, possibly. But you want to make sure that it's kept appropriate to the content that you're creating. If it is a generic button, that's fine. Just try to make sure that you're using some of the same colors, or at least you're not, like, if you're doing everything in black and white and suddenly you have a crazy color in there, then that may not be the best choice. But really, it's important to have something that's appropriate to the theme. And those buttons need to be easily identifiable. I've seen some prototypes that people created buttons that are hiding behind something or kind of blend into the background. That would not be good. So you want to make sure they're easily identifiable, and they will navigate the user through a non-linear learning experience. So that means that you're going to use PowerPoint in a different way, not going to just go first slide, second slide, third slide, fourth slide. You're going to have it go from like slide 4, jump over to slide 17, jump back to slide 5, let it be nonlinear for the user, the learner, to move around how they want, however they need to get the information. Graphics, when it's vibrant and descriptive and appropriate, so and they make sure they enhance the learning and don't detract from it or provide what's considered seductive details, just extra stuff that is unrelated. It's like, oh, here's a really cool picture. Great, but what does it have to do with the actual training? So you want to make sure that those graphics are appropriate like that. Interactions. Now this one is one of the areas that I'd be very generous on. So I wrote in here that the interactions are accept variable response, which means that it isn't just click, you move to the next. That it has something you can type in, or there's multiple places, multiple things that'll happen based on what is entered. And if you were able to do something really fantastic in PowerPoint to make a variable response, there are some ways to do that. Go right ahead. But if you were to just describe and not actually do it, you would get credit for that, because creating variable response interactions in PowerPoint is very difficult. That's something that can be done in a higher grade e-learning authoring tools, such as Articulate. PowerPoint's not really set up to do that. Not really set up for you to type in an answer and it give you feedback on that. It's more, hey, click on the answer, and then you get the feedback. So so if you were to integrate that element into your training, but not actually build the workability into it, that's fine. You'll get credit for that. Otherwise, if it's just a static response, multiple choice, then you would also get credit for that, even if it's working or not, as long as you meet those first criteria up here, that you at least have some. So that means that some questions, some interactive elements, they don't actually have to be working, as long as you indicate, or as long as you have some that do, and the user is able to navigate through the PowerPoint to see all the pages. And I'll show you an example of that shortly. Assessment. Make sure the assessment is both appropriate to the terminal and terminal and enabling learning objectives, and provides that positive and negative feedback. If it's integrated seamlessly into the learning, fantastic. And if it wasn't integrated seamlessly, you mean like at the end of the training, there is another sub test that is kind of like an add-on to the training that wouldn't be seamless. It'd have to be kind of integrated in, where it's like, let's use some of the buttons, some of the characters, some of the graphics in the actual e-learning, not as an addendum onto the back end. And lastly, that reinforcement material, that's the QRG, or the, how do you do that in a PPT? Well, that's tonight. We'll be doing that tonight. So the reinforcement material, that's the QRG or job aid as a file attachment, a single sheet. I've seen people that take their content map and redo that as a QRG. As just a reference, like, hey, here are the procedures, step 1, step 2, step 3, maybe put a little picture in, an icon to represent each of the steps and what you do, and then just clean it up, make it look nice. That's your reinforcement material. So it's pretty straightforward and simple. Just make sure that it's in a, that one, You could add it to the PowerPoint if you put it separately as a PDF or Word doc. That's fine too. You can have even seen people that link it in the PowerPoint, so they upload it and just provide a URL hyperlink to go to it. That's fine as well. So any questions about the rubric, the grading criteria on that? Now we will tonight go over how to do a lot of this stuff, how to create these interactions, and you'll find that it's actually pretty simple. It's pretty simple. It's features that you probably maybe have already used in PowerPoint, but just we're going to look at them in a new way. Let me show you some examples. So this is the example that's uploaded in the assignment, the how to cook a fried egg. And another thing, I want to point out, so I'm going to go to this section here, the slider sorter, so you can see all the slides. And if you notice, if this helps you out, I found this incredibly helpful, is to use sections. So here is the introduction. Here is the cookbook menu. And I just sectioned each part of the training off. So if I'm working in it and I want to consolidate it, I can. It just keeps them a little bit more organized. Not necessary for your deliverable, but it could be very helpful. And you do that, you create those by going into section, and then you just like add a section. So if I wanted to add a section right here, I'd go just click on the slide, go add a section, and there it creates a new section. It requests the name. You can also do that. You can also do that in the normal view of the PowerPoint. You just select the slide, go to section, add section. It's now added in section. So that really does help keep things organized. So if you have a like a content map or a storyboard, and you've got your your tools and materials in one section of the content map, and maybe the procedure in another, and then an assessment in another, or however you've done your content map, you can kind of emulate that in your PowerPoint to prototype to keep you organized and know what section you're working on, and make it a little bit maneuverable, because if you're working with a lot of different slides, it can be sometimes difficult to scroll all the way down, get to that one. It's easier just to go see it like this, close like that, close like that, close like that, and then just select the slides that you need or open them up as you needed. So little feature that can sometimes help out, and also helps out in normal presentations too. Side note on one thing I want to address, I mentioned in a couple comments to the, oh yes, I know a few people have had problems accessing comments in their presentation. I uploaded everyone's presentation to your group page. So let me bring that up. So if you go to your group homepage, and so we'll take a look at Team Alpha. However you get to that, I know my interface is a little different than yours, but however you get to your group homepage, where you can see announcements that I've made in the past, or anybody else in your group has made, you go to Files, the File section right there, and I've uploaded your presentations, your storyboards right there. And if you download them and open them up, you will be able to see the comments. Now let me open up one of the comments, and I'm gonna pick on Team Alpha. Let's see, comments. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Here we go. So this is Team Alpha's storyboard, and if you take a look here on slide 3, you'll see there's a little notation right there for comments. And on slide 8, there's one. Slide 11, there's one. If you click on that slide, comments will pop up there. If that does not happen, you could go to the review tab and make sure show comments is turned on, because you might not see them like that. If you still are not able to view your comments, I found there's another way to do it. It's by printing the whole presentation. So if you go to File and Print, and in the print section, let's see, where was it? File, the full page slide, you can go down here and say Print Comments, and then you can print it up. You can print it up as a PDF if you want. And then when you print it up, you will see the comments. I haven't selected correctly. Oh no, I turned them off. That's why. There you go. The comments will appear on a separate page. So that's how you can get the comments as well. if you have problems accessing them from here. All right. Okay, good. All right, and now the thing I wanted to address is something called MECE. Is anybody familiar with the term MECE? M-E-C-E. Have you heard that? It stands for mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. And it is a principle used in a lot of project work, teamwork, and project development and communication. It means that it is best to, when you're, let's say you're having a meeting and with the team and you're trying to communicate a variety of information, you would structure that information in a way that's mutually exclusive. So here's this topic. We're going to talk about everything related to this topic. Then we're going to move on to the next topic, and everything in this next topic is different than that first topic. So there's nothing that's intermingling in there. They're both mutually exclusive. And then as you finish that topic and maybe go on to another topic and everything about that, after you finish that, you have collectively exhausted all the information necessary to communicate. And that is incredibly helpful when trying to keep everybody organized and in a logical, consistent manner for communicating. And it also applies to e-learning or instructional design, particularly in the content mapping. Now, we didn't really talk about too much in content mapping because it's kind of in there in what we discussed already, but I noticed that there was a few storyboards that had some non-mutually exclusive elements attached to them. So there would be in a particular section where you start off identifying some of the materials. So let's take a look at this particular one here. So let me open it up in this. So in this cookbook menu section, and we're going to review this in a little more detail, this is all about, I closed it out. There we go, tools. In this tool section, this is all about identifying the tools to do the job, to do the performance. That's it. Just here's the tool. Here's what the tool does and what it's used for. That is it. Then in the procedure section, this is just about what steps you take to do the task. That's it. So you would not see an identification of a tool in the procedure portion. They are two mutually exclusive elements of the training. And I saw in a few places on people's storyboards in which they were introducing things as they are talking about their application. So it would be kind of confusing to be in the procedure. Let's go through this procedure here real quick. And it's like, okay, preheat the stove. Next one is prepare the pan on the stove or place the pan on the stove. And the next one is pour cooking oil. Cooking oil is this. And then start telling people what cooking oil is in that portion. That would be a little confusing. Now, yeah, that'd be a little confusing. And the same would apply if you were doing that in the cooking oil section. So you're introducing, here's what cooking oil is used for, here's what it's made of, and you will use it in step 2 of the process. You're not being exclusive, mutually exclusive in these elements, in these topics. So you want to make them mutually exclusive, but then collectively exhaustive. As they get through all the sections, they have exhausted every bit of information necessary to get the performance across as per the learning objective. So whenever you're thinking about how to arrange content in your designs, think mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive as much as possible, All right. Let's see. Any questions about that? And it's a great motto to live by in other forms of communication too, especially working with teams. No questions on that. That is fine. All right. I think I covered just about everything I wanted to talk about. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention about the quiz. Quick note about the quiz that just went live. There is one tricky question in there. All right. So read those questions very carefully. Very carefully. All right, so let's get into prototyping. What we'll do is, you know what, we're just going to start designing a prototype from scratch. That's it. I think we're just going to start from scratch, start with a new one, and I want to get everybody's input on what type of training we should design right here. So, what is a topic that we could design training on? And it could be just about anything within reason. Give me some ideas. How to braid hair. Perfect. All right, we can do that. So I've got a presentation here. I'm going to remove all the content. I just want a very blank slide, And what we're going to do is our first slide we're going to do, and this is that we're not content mapping. We're not doing any analysis. We're just going straight into development. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a splash screen or an introduction screen. And we're going to do that by creating a background here. And we're going to use the stock images already included with Microsoft Office 365. So I want to mention here that make sure you set your interface up. If you notice, I have this quick access bar here. And this is imperative to use for rapid prototyping. This is a place where you put commonly used tools. And so a commonly used tool I have is this little guy right here. So I click on him. This opens up the icons. So these are all the pictures. So anytime I need an icon, I just click it right there and bring it up. And to add that sort of feature, and any feature, you would go to wherever that feature is located in your ribbon. So in this case, it's on Insert. There's icons. I would right click on it and customize, or I would add it to the quick access bar right there. Since it's already added, I don't need to, but let's do one for pictures. Add the quick access bar. Boom, now I've got pictures right there. I can just select that, and now I can add stock images. So that's how you can do stuff, and you can put all the stuff that you frequently use. I've got save, undo, redo, present. These are all alignments, and you'll use alignments a lot. Those are found right here. Arrange, align, all of this stuff. There we go. And use those all the time. So it's really handy to place those in your quick access bar because you'll use them frequently. But let's create that background. In fact, actually, we are not going to use this tool for creating the background. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the Design tab, and we're going to go into Format Background. So select that, and this brings up a format panel if you've seen this before. And this is even something that you could quick access to if you use it often, but this will let you select the background. So I'll go into picture or texture fill. It automatically filled it with this texture. I don't want a texture. I want a picture. So let's go insert, and I want to select stock images. And this is for braiding hair. So this is stock images that are absolutely free to use. Say hair, and hey, we got some options here. So we've got hair cutting. We've got more barbershop hair cutting, braiding hair. So if there's anything, oh, there we go. We got a picture of somebody braiding hair. Excellent. So I'll insert that picture, and now we've got a background picture to use. And now that's not movable picture. It's stuck on the background. You can always change it if you want. If you do not find an image that you like in the stock images, then you can also go to a stock image site, download a picture, and insert it the same way, just by selecting this and selecting from a file. So you can do that the same way too if you don't find that stock image. But luckily we did find an image. And let's create a title for this. And so I'm going to select my title. I draw a title box, which I've already added here. If you wanted to add it, you can by going to the Insert tab and selecting title box, right-clicking it, add into your access bar, or just click it itself. And then we're going to create a title box. And I'm just going to type in, how about just braiding, how to braid hair, how to braid hair. There we go. So it just gets text down there, and then let's make some. What are some different elements of braiding hair that you have to consider? Let's think of some sections that we might need to have in this training, such as maybe length of hair. What do you think are types of braids? What is something that we would need to maybe talk about in this training? Thickness of hair. Okay. Too short versus workable length, sectioning hair. Okay. All right, so let's say determining, let's do a section on maybe determining, or hair accessories is great. So let's say determining braid type, process of braiding hair, and then, or the procedure of braiding the hair, and then adding accessories. How about us doing those 3 sections? Again, we're not going for exhaustive here. We're just going to use this as an example of creating the interactivity and the e-learning. So let's make those sections. I'm going to create a little box here, and this is going to be a section. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Control and copy this box by just holding Control and moving my mouse, and making another one, and then making another one, just like that. You can do the same thing by Control-C, Control-V, but I like to do quickly, just selecting the box, holding Control, and moving your mouse, and it makes a copy. Makes it real simple, real quick and easy. And now we want to make sure they're lined up. So I'll go to my Arrange, my lineup tool, which is right here. Make sure they're aligned, looks like they are. And now I want to center them or have them spaced apart correct, like evenly, because it could be like, actually let's mess this up quite a bit. There we go, they're all over the place. Let's make sure that they're nice and centered and spaced out evenly. So we'll hit that to center them and hit this space evenly, or distribute horizontally to space them apart. That is also located in the alignment group. So let me go back here and select all 4 boxes, go to alignment and align middle, and then align, distribute, horizontal. There we go. I'm going to Control-G for group them together. Now all 3 of those boxes are grouped together as one item. If I select within that group, I can still move the box, but now I can select and move all of them together like that. Now that they're all grouped, I want to center them nice and middle in the screen. So as a whole group, I will do that alignment middle, alignment center. Now we got them all 3 centered. Let's do the same thing for this braided hair title. I will select all the text, hit center on the text box so that it centers within that text box. And then I want the text box to be centered itself. So we'll put it there. A little bit small. Let's make it a bigger. Just increase the font size. Move it up just a little bit. Now we got a little bit of a problem. Because it's kind of hard to read how to braid hair with this image on the back. So what we'll do is we're going to make that image less noticeable. We just want the kind of ambiance of that image. So in the format background, there is a selection for transparency. So I want to make that transparency. Let's make it transparent by 50%. Oh, not enough. Let's do a little bit more. Let's do 70%. There we go. We can still see it. And now that how to braid hair title, it pops out a little bit more. Let's make it pop out even more. And let's add a shadow. Now it pops out real well. Let's make it bold. Excellent. Now we can see it. I also want to put a line underneath it. There we go. Got a line drawn there. Let's make that line a little thicker. And let's change the color of it to black. Actually, let's add some color to this. There we go. Now that line, we want to make sure it is centered. So we will center it with the how to braid hair, and then we'll also want it to be at the bottom part of this braided hair box. So I will use this tool right here to align the items at the bottom. I'm going to Control-G to put them into a grouping and align them with the entire slide. So there we go. Everything's aligned, looking nice and neat. Got these 3 boxes, which are going to represent our 3 different sections. But for our sections, I'm going to ungroup them now by pressing Control, Shift, and G. And that ungroups the boxes. So now they could be manipulated individually. And I want to make them different colors. We'll stick with blue on one. We're going to change another one to orange by using these quick shape styles here, and another one to green. All right. Now we want to add those section title names. So what we can do is a few different ways. We can just add text. And what was the first section? It was going to be hair type. Let's just do hair type. Next one. Actually, what we're going to do is we want to make sure this hair type, we don't want it right in the center because we're going to put an icon in there to represent hair type. So we'll go over to that format shape, go to text options, and over here, and we're going to select the alignment. Well, alignment's middle, but actually, no, we want the alignment to be on the bottom. So when it's at the bottom, there we go.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Please, please. Yeah, anytime, stop me if you have questions.
So when you're typing, there's that box that's showing up in the bottom right?
Yes.
When you're doing like the, what is that? What is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's just for me to, that you won't see that. That's a feature I've added to my screen, so you can see if I'm using special features.
Oh, that's the thing you were talking about, the show your keystroke.
Okay. Yeah, to show my keystroke. Okay. So if you have questions about what keystroke I use to do something, you can see it right there.
All right, I remember you saying that now. I was like, what PowerPoint thing is that? All right.
No worries. Yeah, I had to download a special program to do that. All right, so I want to make sure that both of these text boxes are the same as well. So we're going to go down here, go down the bottom, and then we're going, so that way when we type our text, and this is going to be on braiding procedure. Not real fancy on the naming here, but we can adjust that later. And this is accessories. There we go. And now let's add some icons. Let's add some icons. So we're going to go to that icon option that I put up here in my quick bar. You can always go to icons right here. And this brings up a whole list of icons that are absolutely free to use, just like the images. And you have a lot of stuff here. You got those images, you've got the icons, you've got cutout people. So if you needed a person to add to your training, you can certainly do that. There's stickers, there's now even videos. So if you want to add some video of like a cat sleeping or a meerkat standing up, whatever, you certainly can, if it's appropriate. So there's even these new cartoon, video of braiding. Hey, there might be. Let's take a look if there's any braiding videos. Nope, nothing. Let's just see if there's braid. Nothing. Hair. Nothing. Sadly. So it looks like the videos aren't real. There's not a lot of videos right now. Microsoft is always adding more. But let's go to those icons. What we want to use is the icons for this. And so let's just try hair, see if anything comes up. Oh, we got a comb. Head. Well, let's see. Woman. There's a woman with some hair right there. That might work. So there we go. We'll put that one right there in the middle. Braiding procedure. This might be a little bit tougher, but let's see what we can find. I could check an illustration. Braid. Nothing. Let's just try. I already tried hair. Let's try an illustration. I'm not a big fan of these illustrations, to tell you the truth. They're a little too stylized for me. I don't see anything. We're going to keep it pretty simple for the sake of our icons, though. So let's just stick. There we go. Sorry, a little slow. I'm just going to type in procedure, and I like to use this one as procedure. So we have a procedure now. That's a little icon for doing the procedure. I know it's not the most appropriate, but for the timeliness, let's use that. And accessories. So let's find out what accessories we could possibly use. Let's just try like a bow. See if there's a bow. There we go. So now I've got all. Okay, now I'm using the guides. You see that things are guiding to keep everything centered. And if you're not able to do that centered with the guides, you can of course use that those alignment tools. And I'm selecting all these. I want these to be bigger, so let's make them bigger. I select all three of them. I hold Shift. Actually, no, I want to hold Control. Control. Then it's going to make them just bigger in place. There we go. We got our three sections. Now. And so when somebody clicks on one of these sections, we want them to be able to go to another page. Well, one of the problems with a lot of clicking, let's actually make that page right now. We're going to do this. Oh, So when you Shift move, it makes it bigger from a corner, but if you Control move, it makes it bigger from the center. So it's a little different. If you already have it nice and centered in the proper place, use Control. If you use Shift, it'll just make it bigger and make it like that. So that's Shift. This is, I'm sorry, that's Shift and that's Control. All right, and so what we want to have is when somebody clicks anything right here, it'll go to page 2. So we'll do that by first let's design page 2 up a little bit. And since it's on hair types, let's choose another background. We'll go to picture, fill, insert, stock images, and let's just go hair again. And this is about hair types. And I think this is really good. That's an interesting hair type right there. Let's see if we got multiple people with different types of hair in a picture. I don't see that. A few people right there, but a little far away. I want to really see that hair. Oh, there's somebody with some nice frizzy hair. That would be interesting. All right, let's use that one. All right, and it automatically applied that transparency, so we don't need to make adjustments. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this right here. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it on this slide. And then I want to center it. Actually, I'm going to group it first because we've got the icon and the box. So I'm going to group it. If it isn't already grouped, is it grouped? Yep, it's grouped. And then I'm going to center it in the screen. So center, center. There we go. Just by using those alignment tools. Quick, easy. And that will be our transition screen into hair types. And then I'm going to create a new slide. And on this one, actually, you know what? I don't want to create a new one. I want to copy. So I'm going to duplicate the slide. I have an exact duplicate now. And this one is where we're going to put a text and information. So we're going to take how to braid a hair. I'm going to copy that, paste it here, and change this to hair type. And let's add a person to this that's going to tell us about hair types. So let's go grab a cutout person. And you can go through here and find some, okay, see, where is she? I'll type her in. Yeah, there we go. All right, and let me find a good picture of her. Let's see. I like this one, her kind of holding her head. So there she goes, and we'll do something like, hey, are you confused about what type of braid you need for your hair? Something like that. So what we're gonna do is we're going to first crop her. Actually, I'm not gonna crop her yet. I'm gonna zoom out by pressing Control and using the scroll. So I'm controlling and zooming out. And I'm gonna make her bigger. I think that's about the right size right there. And I'm gonna crop her now. There we go. Cropped. All right, she's going to guide us through this portion of the training. And in this portion, we're going to have a text box because we want text in here. Now, this is something that's going to be very helpful for quick rapid prototyping when you don't know what to type, when you don't know what information you're going to use. And you're going to use equal, lorem, parentheses, whatever number you want, depending on how much you have, and hit enter. And that just creates whatever blank, or not really, just jargon text just to fill the space. So this is lorem ipsum text. It doesn't mean anything. Some people think it's Latin. It's not. It's just text that looks like something that may be used, and it's just a placeholder text is all. So this is where we would type in whatever information that we would have. But since we don't have any information, any copy written, we're just going to use lorem ipsum. It's kind of hard to read, and so let's make a fill on this. We'll make this white, and we're going to create an outline and make this a black outline, and we're going to make it pop out with a shadow. And there we go. So now we have some lorem ipsum text, and this may be providing information about it, about whatever hair type we're dealing with. And let's do one more slide in which we'll duplicate the slide one more time. And this time I'm going to erase her and erase that. And we're going to put some samples of different types of hair. So we'll go into the pictures again, the stock images. And I know there's a lot of different pictures of hair there. So let's go grab images and hair. There we go. And let's just grab a lot of different types of hair. Select one, select two. And oh, I think I want to try to keep it all about the same. Oh, there's some good frizzy hair there, and there's some straight hair. Okay. So I selected all four of those images. They'll download and pop in. And I'm going to take them all and reduce the size. and space them out over the screen. Still a little too big. And you know what we'll do is we're going to crop these all to be squares. So go to crop, aspect ratio 1:1. That means it's going to be square. Crop 1:1, crop. And you can do any of the cropping aspect ratios here. Crop ratio 1:1. There we go. And let's do a similar lineup that we did before. So get them all centered and distributed. Oh, not enough space. They're kind of blinking over each other. So we will zoom out a little bit, move this one all the way to the end, this one all the way to the end. Select all four, and there we go. I am not in a Mac. I am actually using PC right now. I'm using PC. If you are using Mac, a lot of these features are very similar. There are a couple differences, but they are very similar. And if you like, I can spend some time maybe after class or at my office session to go over that, how those work on Mac. So we're going to put a border on all of these. I have them all selected already. Let's add that border. Bingo. And we could write text on each of these or add a text element on each of these. So let's do that. Equals lorem 1. Oh, that's a lot. So we're just going to do this, using that control and move. I'm going to delete this. Let's have different text on everything. Bingo. So let's just say that these are the types of hair that we're talking about. Well, let's make them all centered, make them a little bigger, bold them, make them a little wider, and let's line them all up under their appropriate picture using the guides there. See that little red line? When I center it up, you'll see a little red line there through the picture. That means it's lined up center with the picture. And then we also want to make sure they're all lined up together. So I'll select them all, line them up, and there we go. So now we've got labels for everything. Now with those labels on there, they're a little bit low. I'm going to move them up to the center there. Now we've got the 4 different hair types. All right, so the important part is how do we make interactions to get from here to there without just clicking the mouse? First thing is we want to disable mouse clicks when transitioning. We do not want somebody, like if I were to present right now, if I just click the mouse, it'll just go from one to the other. We do not want that at all. We want to get rid of that feature. So I'm going to select all the slides, go to transitions, and you see here on advanced slide, mouse click is checked. We want to turn that off. So now if I were to present, I'm clicking the mouse, nothing's happening. So I've turned off mouse clicks. We want to have the user control where the slide, when the, you want to control the user on where they go in the slide deck, and mouse click would just go through, because you're going to have this non-linear. You can have them start on this slide and jump to slide 4, go to slide 2. Depends on how you design your buttons and where they direct to. So first what we're going to do though is just going to go from slide 1 to slide 2 by clicking on this particular button, because we could potentially have, in fact, let's do this right now. Let's duplicate this. We're going to create 2 more. We're going to put these 2 down here. And in fact, we're going to use that, section option. So I'm going to say section right here, add section. This is going to be introduction. Actually, this is going to be main menu. Rename. This one is going to be hair type. This one is actually going to be braiding procedure, and this one is going to be accessories. So we'll do this, hit add section, and this is braiding procedure. And this one, section, accessories. Bingo. Now we're using the hair type icon for these, but that's fine. We can just grab them, this one here. Let's group it, and let's group this one too. Control G to group it. We're gonna copy Let's get rid of this. We don't need that anymore. This is a different section. Paste. It was already in the center. We're good to go. We'll do the same thing with this one. Copy and delete this. Paste. It's off to the side. That's okay. We can center. It's all nice and center now. So each one of these is now centered perfectly. And when the user clicks on each of these, it'll take them to those particular locations. But how do we do that? Well, there's something called linking, hyperlinking. Oh, I'm going to group that one too. But the problem with hyperlinking, and I'll show you. So if I select this icon, there's something called link right here. So if I select link, I can now make it link to a web page, a URL, or another document. This is how you might link your QRG, whatever, or an email address, whatever you like, you can link. But you can also link a place in this document. And that's what we're going to do, is we're going to link to slide 2. So we'll select slide 2 and link it. Normally, I'm going to tell you that we're not going to do that right now. In fact, let me show you why. Let me show. Did I do that link or did I accidentally? No, I did the link. So right now, if I made this icon right here in the middle link to this slide. So let's go ahead and hit F5 to shift F5 to go present mode. And if I click on this hair type, it'll take us right there. Great. But problem is, what if somebody clicks right here? That's not going to do anything. Doesn't do anything. They have to click this icon, and I want them to be able to click the whole box. And that's a problem because, let me get rid of this, this link. I'm going to remove this link. You cannot add a link to a group. That is a problem. So the link is not working. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to copy this box, paste it. Oop, I want to delete this. We don't need any text in there. And we're going to put this box right on top. And we're going to do the same thing for each of these. I'm going to put a box right on top. Make sure it's nice and centered on it. There we go. And again, control to do this. Now I've got those boxes right on top. I'm going to select all 3 of those boxes. I'm going to turn them white. I'm going to take off the outline. So they have no outline. It has a little bit of an outline because that's from the box underneath it. And this is important to note that PowerPoint works in layers. There are several layers going on here, and you can see those layers by going to the select in the home tab. Go to select, selection pane, open selection pane, and here are all the layers being used currently on this slide, on just this slide. Now I can turn them off, or not turn them off, but make them invisible by just clicking the eyeball on them. But you see, if I take one of these and move it down below, it's now underneath that layer. So you got to think of things in layers on top of each other, and to find out what's on top of what, you go to that selection pane. And a nice thing on the Mac, if you are using a Mac, they have this this view that lets you, it basically gives a 3-dimensional rendering of it and shows you all the layers. It's pretty cool, but it is not available here. So let's say make the box glow so that it's clickable. Yeah, you can definitely do that in the bevel. Absolutely, we'll go ahead and do that. But first, we have to make these items here that's covering it up. We want these to be the clickable items. All right, so when somebody clicks on these boxes, it'll take them there, but they're covering up what we want to show them. So what we're going to do is going to select all 3 of those boxes, go over to that format pane, which I have selected right here already. We're going to go to the paint thing here. We have it set for solid fill, but we want the transparency to be set at 100%. They are completely and utterly transparent right now, and you can't see it, but there it is. But it's a transparent box on top of there. And that is what we can use to link. Yes, witchcraft. And that is a feature that is usable in Articulate. Articulate has the exact same problem as PowerPoint when it comes to setting links like that. So you will have to do the same thing. And we're going to set that box to link to here. We're going to set this box to link to its appropriate section, which is slide 5. And this box to link to slide 6. And it could be any slide that you want, And now we want to have this transition be kind of cool. Let's make this cool. Let's make this happen where you use what's called the morph transition. Does anybody have any experience using morph transitions in PowerPoint? It is a fantastic tool. It's amazing what you can do with it. It's a great feature. So we'll go to transitions, and we're going to select the destination slide and set the transition for that. And we're going to set it for morph. And we're going to do that for braiding procedure and accessories. All right, let's test out our interactions so that we have them right now. Shift 5, how to braid. You know what? I want to do something different. I don't like just jumping straight into this main menu. I like to have a little fade. Let's make this a little more theatrical. So Shift F5 to start your presentation from where you're at. Fade it in nice and smooth. And now let's try out our button. Hair type. Voila, we've got a nice transition to our hair type. Only problem is we're stuck here right now. I can't get onto the next slide. The mouse click won't work, so we've got a little bit of a problem. But I'm gonna hit the arrow back to get us back. Arrows still work, so you can't really stop that feature. So I can go forward and back with the arrows if necessary. But right now we want to kind of stick people to clicking. So click on braid. Braid didn't move much at all because it's right there in the center. And oops, there we go back to the hair type. And let's try accessories. Accessories moves over. That is the morph transition that allows that to happen. And that is workable in so many different ways. You can have things expand or even rotate if you start using 3D objects. There's 3D objects in PowerPoint. So you can use all that stuff to and use the morph tool to make animations happen. Really cool between slides. All right, so what we're going to do from this slide is we want to auto transition to this slide. We're not going to have buttons because this is just an introduction slide, and we will auto transition by selecting after. This is on the transition page. We don't want it to be on mouse click. We want it to be after, and we're going to set it for, let's set it for 3 seconds. That's plenty of time, especially if there's going to be some kind of voiceover. In fact, I'm going to select the notes here, and this brings up notes. And where you can type in information that's only visible on the note screen or the presenter screen, but this is where we might type our VO, our voiceover, or you can take it from your storyboard, of course. So in this, so we'll say in this section, we will show you the different types of hair you may have to braid, whatever, something like that. And then we can create an audio file from this or do our VO for this, and then set that transition to happen at the duration of that audio. So if we did an audio file that had somebody speak that, then we figure out how long is that audio file, set that transition to happen. So that way, let's go back to this one, try it again. That's the nice thing about PowerPoint. You can start it and stop it. There's no rendering. You start and stop it really quickly. In a lot of Articulate and other developmental tools, it starts and stops, or you have to render in order just to see what it looks like. So there, auto transition straight to this slide. Didn't have to do anything, just transition to it. But in this slide, we're stuck here. We can't go back and forth, so we got to create a button. So let's create a button, and we're going to do that by going to home. Let's create one of these sorts of buttons. We're going to make a kind of or do that one like that. And that will be our main menu button. Oh, that's sorry. We said we wanted to make these beveled, didn't we? I forgot about that. Okay, this is actually a perfect example. We forgot we didn't make them beveled. Let's make them beveled. And the problem is we got this invisible box in front of it. We can't get past it. So let's go over to that selection pane. I'm going to select each of those invisible boxes. Oops. Control, select each one of them, and I'm going to hide them. I should hide there. Now they're hidden. Now I can attack this box, and we're going to set a bevel on it. Go to Shape Effects, Bevel, boom, and let's add a little shadow to it too. Boom. Now we got a nice beveled box. Now when I select the group, I make sure I click again. So one click selects the group, another click on the item within the group selects the item, and bevel, bevel, and shadow. If you end up using bevel and shadow a lot, you can set those as quick items. I think you can. Yep, quick access bar. So I can set them as a quick item. I don't normally use them too much. So there, nice beveled buttons. And oh, we got to do the same thing here. Oh, here's something. Here's a great tip. Control Shift C I think I talked about this before. So I'm going to select the box, Control-Shift-C. Oh, did it a lot of times, sorry. And then I'm going to go to this box, select it, Control-Shift-V. Auto pasted that. Now, if I did the same, that formatting, I just pasted that formatting. If I did the same thing to this one, we're going to run into some problems because color is a format. Control-Z is your friend. I'll undo that. I'm going to select the formatting for this one, go over here. Oops, maybe I didn't select the format correctly for the correct thing. Control-C, go here, Control-V, Control-C. And this is extremely helpful when you have a same button on many, many, many slides. You could have 70 slides in an e-learning prototype, and you need to go and change them all. You can Control-Shift-Copy. Yes, Control-Shift-C copies just the format. Control-Shift-V pastes that format. So, but yeah, if you had a lot of slides and you need to do this, that's easier. That's easy to do it like that instead of having to go through and manually change each one. There is even ways, I haven't done it, but apparently there are ways to use find and replace to do the same thing. So let's say you have like 1,000 slides and you need to change the formatting on an item that appears in 1,000 slides. You could potentially do that. I have not tried that personally. I heard it works. I saw a demonstration. It looked cool. I just haven't found a need yet. But if you find yourself in a pickle like that, go ahead and try it out. All right, now let's work on these buttons. I want to do the same thing as we did on this. So I'm going to Control-Shift-C that formatting on that blue with the bevel and Control-Shift-V on this one. And this is going to be a button to go to main menu. I will edit the text. So I'll select the box, right click, edit text, and type in main menu. So this button, when clicked on, will take us back to here, And we'll do that by selecting that button, right-clicking, link, slide 1. There. Now we have an escape back home. Now let's make also another button to go next. Now I'm going to copy this, and this one's going to say next, but that's not a very good button for next. Normally you see next as being an arrow. So let's change this to an arrow. I will select the box, go to shape format, go to edit shape, change shape, and select arrow. It still looks a little funky, so I'm going to zoom in, control, scroll in with it selected, and let's make that like that, and let's make that like that. Now we got a nice little next box. I don't like how that next is kind of off center there, so I'm going to select it. I'm going to go to the format pane, format shape, go to text options, go to the last one here. This is all the text box options, and I'm going to up the bottom. Ooh, not good. Oh, this is set for alignment bottom. So let's do alignment middle. There we go. Might as well set this. Oh, it still doesn't look very good. So let's change the top to be, there we go. That's the problem. I had the top set at a distance down, so you can change the margins on it and make it go all the way down. I'm removing the margins altogether, and removing the margins altogether and make sure it's set for middle, and now it stays there right in the middle. I'll do the same thing for this one. Text options, the text box, middle, and remove the margins from the top and the bottom. Now we've got nice centered buttons, and then this button, we want it to go link. Well, it's already in it. Since I copied it, it currently has a link. If I hover over it, it says slide 1 right there. That means that it's going to take you to slide 1. If you click on it, we don't want it to go to slide 1. We want to edit the link and have it go to slide 4. There we go. And we have now our buttons, and we can copy those buttons and place them on the other slides, on any other slides that we want. So I'm going to copy them and paste them here. And on this particular slide, we have to have a back button. So I'm going to copy this next button, place it here. I'm going to flip it by going to shape format, rotate, flip, and call this back. There we go. We got nice buttons now, and we're going to make sure this button is set to, got to edit that link to go back to slide 3. And this one would normally go to slide 5, but we don't have a slide 5 right now. So we're just going to let it be. And then we'll see how this looks. We'll try this out. And so let's see here, boom. How to break here, make sure if we got all, I'm gonna check my transitions. This does not have a transition, this doesn't have a transition. I'm just gonna do, I don't know, what kind of transition do we wanna do? Any ideas? Fades, pushes, could try morph. I don't think morph's gonna do much because there's no unifying elements. You have to have a unifying element. If this appeared, you know what, let's try it. I'm gonna copy this, and here, I'll show you something kind of cool. If I copy this whole item right here, I'm gonna paste it. Oh wait, so you know what? That won't work right now. Never mind. We'll make this small like that. And I'm going to reduce the size of this font. And I'm gonna push this, whoops. Push this to the upper right-hand corner and stick with that transition of morph. And then this one, we'll just do fade and see how this works. 5. Hair type. Oh, I can't click on it. Why can't I click on it? Does anybody know?
We forgot to put the invisible boxes back.
Yep. So go to those invisible boxes, turn them back on, and do it again. Normally, you wouldn't find that out in like Articulate until you spent maybe several minutes rendering, but here we figured it out real quick and easy. All right, so hair type. Morph into that next slide. We're going to wait for 3 seconds. It now morphs over to the side, and now we've got our information about the slide. Let's go next. Takes us to the next slide, and we hit back. Takes us back to that slide. Oh, that slide has a morph transition on it, so it kind of jumped back oddly. So it's up to you on whether or not you want to do that. Whatever that slide transition, that slide has on it is going to be whatever it is, no matter where it's coming from. So let's say we're going to come back to the slide from a slide much later on down. If this slide is set for morph, it will morph to the slide no matter what is on there. So if you actually had, here, I'll give you an example. So let's grab her, and I'm going to paste her right here, but let's, well, here's another helpful tool. If you select a picture and you've messed it up and it's all, you know, you've done all sorts of weird stuff on it and it's all distorted, and here's something that happens often. Oh, that looks horrible. I can't stand that. Instead of fiddling with it to try to make it back to normal, select the picture, go to picture format, reset picture size and shape. It takes you all the way back to its original condition. Gonna make her nice and small, and she's gonna be a little elf in the corner there. So this ought to be kind of interesting. Now this is just a little goofy, but we'll give it a try. I'm sorry, Shift F5, go next and see what happens. Oh, it didn't do it. Interesting, I wonder why that didn't happen. Maybe it's because it's cropped. So, oh wait, nope, I know why I didn't do it. Because we have the transition set for fade. We have to have the transition set for morph. Let's try that again. And click next. And now she morphs into that corner. And that's because we use the exact same picture, just copied it on the next slide. And so morph looks for that picture and then tries to push whatever that element is into that same place or formatting or whatever you did to it. So yeah, that's how you would do buttons. Now let's tackle a quick knowledge check, but it is 6 o'clock right now, a little after 6. So let's take a quick 10-minute break, and we come back. We'll talk about how to create a knowledge check with multiple choice answers and feedback, and then we'll also dive into how to create a potential anchored learning discussion style training. So take 10. I have 6:06 right now, so let's come back at 6:16. See you then. All right, good. Didn't miss too much there. Just started the recording back up. Didn't lose too much there. Just about saving the file using the proper naming conventions. As you can see up here, we've named this file LDT544 sample braiding hair e-learning prototype version 1.00. That way, if this crashes, we'll be able to go back and save or go back and get this presentation or this e-learning prototype. And I was just about to say that there is another way to create hyperlinks, and it's actually a little more effective. And if you're doing a lot of them, you can add this as a quick access tool item. So what we'll do is we'll go to Insert, and you have here action. And you know what? We're doing so many of these. Let's make this an add to the quick access bar. So right now it's right here. And so I'm going to select this back button and I'm going to select action. And here we have all the options for when you mouse click, it'll hyperlink to, and it gives you a few. When we did it before, you didn't have the option to end show. I just figured this out earlier today. I just realized this earlier today. I was trying to end a show on a button and I couldn't do it with that other way, but this way you can. You can also go to a URL, you can do all sorts of stuff, go to next slide or previous slide, first slide, last slide. So it gives you a few more options on what to hyperlink to. You can also run programs, you can play sounds. So let's say we have a sound, let's do a breeze. And we can also highlight the click. So let's do all of that stuff. And now when we hit Shift F5 to present from our current slide, I will click it. You see it's highlighted a little bit there at the little dotted line. And if I click it, oh, it didn't make any sounds. I wonder why. I wonder why it didn't make a sound. I do not know. I do not know. I might have to play around with that, find out why that's not making sounds. Normally, when it comes to putting audio and putting sounds into a presentation, I will do it a different way. Let's go back to edit link, play sound breeze. Interesting. All right. Well, I'm not going to play any sound. I don't like highlight clicks, to tell you the truth. I'm not a fan of that. Another thing you could do, this is a little more tricky. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but let's go to this back. Let's just go to the main menu button. I'm going to zoom into it. And it is nice to be able to click on a button and get some type of feedback. And normally when you kick a button that's kind of beveled like that, it might be a little squishy. So you think it might press in. We can create that feature by just duplicating this. So we're going to copy this, duplicate it, put it right on top using the guides there. And I'm going to name this. Oh yeah, that's another thing you can do. With all of these items in the selection box, the selection area, it can get pretty confusing on what is what. I've had a selection box that had, I think, 200 items in it before. I was creating a Jeopardy game in PowerPoint, and I had like 200 items on it, tons of animations, basically a whole Jeopardy game of selecting everything happened on 2 slides. And so I had it all set up here and tons of selection items. So items selected, it's hard to find out what is what. So what I did is I would go and name them. So if you deal with all, you can name them. So this particular button, we're going to call this button main menu. And we're going to call this any. And I'm going to hide it real quick and select this one. And I'm going to call this one the same thing. Copy all that text, paste it right here. Why spend extra time typing? And call this outie. All right, so this is going to be our outie button. This is going to be our any button. And for the any button, we don't want necessarily a bevel. We want a different type of bevel. Go to bevel, and instead of this type of bevel, we want this type of bevel. All right, so now we have the any button and we have the outie button. Put those together, and we want to have the depending on how we want to do this, let's work with animations. So we're going to go to animations pane, and we're going to select an animation for this any button, and it's going to be just appear. And I want to go to animations pane right here. And that opens up a new pane to show what our animations are doing. And right now it's on mouse click. So if you just click the mouse anywhere, that animation will occur. And we can see that right now. It's not going to be very effective, to tell you the truth. So if I just click the mouse, oh, it didn't work. That's fine. It's not supposed to, it's not going to function well anyways right now because we have to do a few more things to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this animation right here. That is the appear on the any. And we want that to, we want to go to right click on the arrow here. Sorry, left click on the arrow. Let's go to, I think it's timing. And we're going to have set triggers. And we want this trigger to start when we select a particular item. And that item is going to be the button outie. So when you click the outie button, the any button will appear. And we want, but we don't want it to just appear and stay appeared. We want it to appear and disappear. So I have the any button selected. I'm going to add an animation. I'm not going to change animations. I'm going to add an animation. This is going to be an exit disappear. So now I got the exit disappear. I'm going to move it to after. Just grab it and move it to after. And this one is going. I'm going to go to timing. And this one is not going to be on click. It's going to be after the previous, but I want to give it a little bit of a delay. So I think 1 second or half a second is even too much. I'm going to give it 0.25 of a second. And as part of a click sequence, I think that might be right. No, let's keep like that. All right, let's see if this works now. So we'll open this up. And there, it appeared, but that wasn't too good. Let's actually turn off. For some reason, it didn't disappear. Oh, I think I know why. And this is something you have to play with a little bit, test it out. Not everything's going to work perfectly. And what I think what happened was is on the transition, we had it, no, not the transition, it was on the button. So we go to that Audi button, hide it, right click, edit link. Yeah, right when we click it, it's transitioning. So we might have to mess around with it a little bit to make sure that it transitions while we see the appear and disappear. But it does, it can work. You just, it's just a little, it's quite a bit more work because you have to add all of these animations to this. I don't know where the animation suddenly went to. Did we just suddenly lose them all? Are we on the wrong page? Oh, I know. We lost them all because we turned off the button there. So we go to the animation. So now the animations appear, and so you may need to fiddle around with that to make that work, but it does work. I have gotten that work. It's just a lot of extra time to get all those buttons to do that. But once you do it, you can kind of copy and paste it all over, and you have a any Audi button click going on there. All right. Now what was I going to say? Oh yeah. Now we're going to go into how to create a assessment. So questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this slide. Why remake the wheel here? I'm going to delete everything on here pretty much. Delete everything. I'm going to keep this here, and I'm just going to call this knowledge check. And let's grab her again, but we're going to grab a different picture of her. So we'll go to that icons, cut out people, and what was it? Tina. There we go. And let's find a good picture of her asking a question or quizzically or something like that. Oh, there we go. There's one of her kind of looking quizzical. Let's make it big again. Crop. You know what? There is another way to do this that might even be easier, because one of the problems I see a lot of people have is maintaining consistency in your images. Like, it would kind of be weird if we used her picture of that size here and then suddenly changed it to like this size here. It might look a little weird. So to maintain consistency, you know, actually, let me see if this would work. I'm going to copy her picture, and sometimes it's difficult to place it right in the right spot. But there, I just copied and pasted it here, but I want to change it. So I go to change picture from stock images, and I'm wondering if this is going to work. It might, when you import it in, it might make it so that it is full size. Grab a quizzical look. Oh, no, it actually did okay. It just centered her, but that's not a problem. So what we can do is right click, crop, and move her down. There we go. Now we've got the same size as, well, sort of. I think the picture may be a little bit bigger, but it with the copy format. Good question. No, I don't believe it would. Let's try it, but I don't believe copy formatting would include the crop. I think crop is not considered a format. And it's weird. Sometimes the copy formatting, copy and paste formatting is, oh, there she is. It'll grab some formatting, but not grab others. But so let's see here. Copy this formatting, Control Shift C, Control Shift V. Nope, didn't do it. But what it would do is if we put a shadow on her, put a little shadow on her, let's just make this look absurd. Let's make her have soft edges. That's just absurd, but oh well, we'll just do it for demonstration's sake. I copied the soft edges and pasted it in there. That pasted. So that's really handy if you have a lot of pictures and you want to have the same type of border just to maintain consistency on all your pictures, you can do that. Control Z is your friend. There we go. I'll get rid of her. And now let's create that question. Again, no need to remake the wheel here. Going to copy and paste this text box. We don't need that much information for this question. In fact, we'll probably need even less than this. And we could write out a real question if we wanted to. Zoom in a little bit. But we're just going to use the filler text for that. And you know what? Let's do this and copy that down, but this is going to be answers. And for answers, I actually don't want any kind of fill. I don't want any kind of outline. Oops. No outline. And let's just make it one word. And then we're going to copy. We can even copy multiples if we wanted. But you know, we don't need 5 answers. So now we have our boxes here, and these are going to be the selection answers. Let's make them bigger. Select them all, up the size so we can read them. Let's move them all over a little bit, and let's just throw some words in there. And there we go. And if you ever have a problem with, you need to make all the text capital or a sentence case, you can select the text, go up here, and here's all the different types of cases you can use. If you want to make it all uppercase, toggle case, capitalize each word, whatever you like, you can do it that way. And that I don't think is something that will paste either. That's actually a formatting that I don't think, nope, that doesn't paste. So it's a little strange on what formatting does and doesn't paste. But most of the formatting that you most frequently use will paste. So like the font type, font color, the shapes, color, outline, all of that stuff. So size won't though. So you'll play around with it. You'll find what does and doesn't. All right, so those are going to be our answers, but let's make them so that we have an ABC here. In fact, let's just select all of them. And let's make sure they are centered and distributed, nice and distributed. So it's nice and even, and select there. And now we have answer A, answer A, answer A, answer A. That doesn't work. We need to make these B, C, D. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to right click. No wrong answers, really. So I want to right click. Oh, no, not right click. I want to go up here, select this one. And instead of selecting a different one, I'm going to select bullets numbering and have this start at 2, and that makes it start at B. Same goes for here. And if you do this a lot, again, you can make this into a quick option, quick access. Let's do that as a quick access. So boom, and zoom. And oops, we have to do that for 3. There we go. And this one, 4. There we go. Now we have our 4 answers. I think it's a little hard to read still. So let's make these bolder, bigger, better, badder. There we go. Now it's a little more visible. And we're going to need these to give us some type of feedback. So whatever answer is correct, we want that to provide positive feedback. We want answer is incorrect to provide negative feedback. And we're going to do that by creating an overlay on this. So we don't want it it will go to another slide, as you will see, but we don't necessarily want the audience to know that. We just want the audience to see an overlay happen on the slide that gives them feedback. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this slide, and we're going to have 4 different feedbacks, one for each of the answers. Actually, you know what? We can just do 2. We can just do 2. We'll do a correct feedback and an incorrect feedback. I will sometimes do a feedback based off of the answer. So it's individualized. So you could have 4 feedbacks, and one of the answers could be correct. Correct. You got it. You got it. You did it right. And no, incorrect. This is the wrong answer, and this is why that answer that you chose is wrong. And it deals specifically with that wrong answer, and that will be for the same for each one. And in fact, that e-learning that I of the Chelsea dining collection that I put in the chat, it does that. It will provide dynamic feedback based on what incorrect or correct answer that you do. But for the sake of this and to expedite this whole process, because I want to finish this up after this one, we'll just do 2 feedbacks, one correct, one negative. And it's all the same slides. What we're going to do is we're going to take a text box, this text box, and we're going to paste it, but we're going to change it a little bit. Again, we don't want to reinvent the wheel here. Oh, okay. So one feature that these text boxes have sometimes is that they kind of auto set their size. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to select the format shape, go to the text options, text box. See, it says resize shape to fit text. I don't want that. I want it to be the same size for every single one. And there we go. We're going to make this a middle, and we're going to write some other lorem ipsum text. Let's just grab some from here. Actually, you know what? No, wait, this is just correct feedback. Correct. You know your hair. All right. Gonna make this bigger. I don't like it being a white box. Let's make it nice and centered. There we go. Maybe a little lower. And I don't like it being a white box, and I think it needs to be there. Let's make it a green box to show, hey, you're doing great. Kind of green is go, so you did it right. There we go. And now I want to copy this and paste here. And this one's going to be incorrect. What are you? Bald? Whatever we want to write on there. So now we have, and we want to change the color of this box. So let's make it kind of orangish. Say, oh, that's bad. You can do it red if you want, whatever you like. And now for this one, we want to give them the option to try again. There we go. So to get those to get the answers to go to those slides, what we would do is we'd make these as links, just like we did with the buttons. And let's say answer D is the correct one. So we'll go right click on this, link, and go to the correct slide, which is slide 6. There we go. And then for the rest of these, we would have to select to link to slide 7. See if we can do multiple at the same time. No, we can't. So we have to do each one individually. 7. And I think it gives you a little preview of what the slide where it's going to go. Link, slide 7. There we go. And let's give it a try. So I'm just going to hit Shift F5 to present from current screen. And what is the correct answer? Oh, I'm going to guess this one. Incorrect. What are you, bald? Now, what we could do is have this be a button. And in fact, let's do that. Let's turn this into a button and have that link back to slide 5. There we go. Or we could have that link to the correct information. So it's like, or we can have it say, you know, wait, incorrect. See this section and hyperlink to the section that has the information. So that'll say, that'll let them know, hey, you got it incorrect. we want you to get it correct. So here's the way that you can figure out the correct answer. So you don't necessarily give it to them directly, you give them the corrective feedback. And then they'll go back there, see what it is, try the question again, and hopefully get it correct. Now, if you wanted to make this maybe even a pop-up, you could copy this slide and make like an overlay, copy this slide, like the picture of it, and post that as an overlay. So you can like try again, you want to see the correct answer, you click on it, and then that slide, a picture of that slide will open up and take up almost the whole screen, and give, so they can find the right answer, and you can create a button to go back and disappear, and they can try the answer again. So you can even do that. There's all sorts of ways that you can create your feedback and how the user interface and user experience is, and the world is yours on that one. But there we go. We made this into the button. Let's double make check. Yep, so you have slide 5. This can take us to slide 5 just by rolling it over, and let's give it a try. So F5. And this time we're going to click this one. Incorrect. What are you, bald? Try again. Okay. Brings me back here, and correct. You know your hair. All right, I got it right. I can click next and go to the next slide if we add one. Right now, that just takes us back to the hair one. So that's really how you can create those interactions. It's pretty quick. It's pretty easy once you know where everything is, and you can get really carried away on it and do some really crazy stuff. In fact, I can show you real quick that presentation that, that e-learning that I sent the link to, and here it is. And I purposely did it kind of annoying. And you'll notice with the customer interaction, it is meant to drive you up the wall a little bit. So this slide deck is 141 slides full of interactions, and have it all sectioned off, and it has audio in it, and you'll see there's little audio bits right here. That I have set in the animations. So if I go to animations, animation pane, here is the audio that will play automatically when you get to this slide. And then there's another audio that'll play later on down in the animation. So what happens is when you get to the slide, this audio plays, then this speech bubble pops up. Actually, that pops up right after that happens. And then this audio plays, and then this happens. So this shows the sequence, and you see how it goes on the timeline here. So let's see how this would work. Let's actually go back to the question. Actually, this isn't a question. This is an introduction to this segment, but let's do the question. So here's the question 1. Well, let me make sure I'm sharing the audio on this.
Select the appropriate response to introduce the Chelsea Dining Collection.
And let's select something that is incorrect.
The Chelsea Dining Collection has adjustable levelers so that it is moisture resistant.
I don't understand what you mean.
Incorrect response. You did not connect the feature to its corresponding benefit. Adjustable levelers do not provide moisture resistance.
And then we can try again. Go back. And let's select the correct answer, which you didn't take the training. You might not know what it is. It is this one.
The Chelsea Dining Collection has a wire brushed finish so that it presents a warm and welcoming look.
It does look nice.
Correct. Your response appropriately connects a Chelsea Dining Collection feature, wire brushed finish, to the benefit, warm and welcoming look, using the that tie phrase.
And that's what this whole training is about. Where did I get the voices? All right, so this is, I got these voices from this service I purchased called iSpring Suite. It has a full group of narrations here. I can pick all sorts of voices from all around the world, and of different ethnicities, of different vocal types, all sorts of stuff. They're not perfect. I do detect that they're robotic sometimes, but they are pretty nice. You can create your own. I believe there's some free options, or even some. I know Mac the previous training I did, what was it? The anchored learning sample that we did, part of the learning methods module, that was done using a Macintosh's native voice features. So here's the thing. So I'll just go audio, text to speech, and here's all the different voices to choose from. There's Helen.
Hi, my name is Helen. I can easily convert your text to speech.
Here's Toby.
Hi, my name is Toby. I can easily convert your text to speech.
That sounds like a synthetic human if I ever heard one. So you can have all these voices in there, and then you can insert the text from the notes. So here are all the slide notes. Remember the slide notes that you can open up? You can add the text from there and just insert that text, and it just automatically does it. It adds it at the cursor creation. Fine. Boom. There's the audio right down there. Let's play it.
The Chelsea Dining Collection has a wire brushed finish so that it presents a warm and welcoming look.
Okay, enough of that voice. That's kind of annoying. So you can do that with this app, but now this is something that's a paid service, but you can find other options. Oh, to get that audio in there, all I did, there's a few options in this particular suite that allows me to add it, but a way that you can do it is just, what I did is I went to edit the clip and just exported it as a WAV file or an MP3. And here's all the MP3s. These are all the different, I labeled them the slide. So I knew that this particular MP3 went to slide 38 and it was the C because I had multiple on there. I had 38, 38B, 38C. So I put it as an MP3. I'm not going to do that for this one. And then I don't want to save this. And then I just grab that audio and let's see if I can find it. So here's my working directory for all this. I grabbed the audio. Here it all is. All these ones were named. Here was the customer interaction ones, and I did a lot. I made a lot. And since I had the notes in there, and you'd written the VO out in your storyboard, just copy and paste it in there. It's real simple. And just hit make. Pops them all out. You might have to manually go and export each of these if you want to do it that way. But I'll just grab this one and drop it in. There it is right here. And if I play it,
select the appropriate response to address the customer's concern.
So this one doesn't belong on this slide, but I'll just use it as an example. I'll go over to playback. So now that I have, whoops, I lost it. Let's pin that there so you can see it. So if I select it, notice that these menus, they disappear. Like picture format isn't available anymore because I don't have a picture. But if I select, oh, there's the audio. Now the playback goes there. So I can go to playback. And I can say automatically play, or when clicked on, I'll have it play automatically. It adds it to the animations pane. So now in the sequence, I want to hide it during the show. I don't want this to be shown right in the middle. So, and then I usually just pop it off to the side using the alignment tool. So I'll hit alignment to the right and alignment to the top, have them all stuck there at the top, and they're not seen during the presentation. So if I hit
The Chelsea
Shift F5,
Dining Collection has a wire brushed finish so that it presents a warm and welcoming look.
It does
Okay.
look nice.
we're going to have this
Correct.
audio
Your
pop
response
in here in a
appropriately
moment.
connects a Chelsea Dining Collection feature, wire brushed finish, to the benefit, warm and welcoming look, using the so, that tie phrase. Select the appropriate response
There's
to
that
address
last
the
audio
customer's
now.
concern.
So it got popped in there at the end. It's not the appropriate place for it. It's just for example. So that's how you can put audio in wherever you find that audio. You can put your own audio in. In fact, I'm going to close this up. Oh, that just saved. Oh, that saved. I have it set for auto save right now. I shouldn't have done that. But you can put your own audio in. Here is a project I did back when I was in the master's program, and this is a tide pool discovery. Obviously, it's tide pool discovery, but this is completely interactive. In fact, it has mouse over action. So I'm just mousing over here and see that sword popping around, and that's because it's just jumping from to different slides where that sword is located. So each time that sword moves, we're going to a different slide. You wouldn't notice it, but it is. In here, I think is where I have some audio. Next, it's about reading the tide charts. I didn't do this very well.
Well,
here.
shiver me timbers.
There we go.
Or we have a tide chart. 'Tis one was taken from the California U.S. Harbor's website.
So
on a
you have,
standard
you can put
tie
your own
chart,
audio
you
in
can
there.
see
That is
the
not,
date.
that is actually yours truly. Putting on my best talk like a pirate impression. Uh-oh, I just, yep, I just messed it all up. So you can put your own audio in there, whatever you need, or you can create your own. From whatever voice text to speech program you have. If for this project, it's not a necessity, but you'd be welcome to do it, and it would actually look pretty good or sound pretty good if you did. And I mentioned before in a previous class that if you do complete a pretty good one prototype, even if it's not totally done, not all the interactions, but you want to use it as a sample and you want it to actually run like an e-learning. I don't know if the screen's still sharing. I think it might be. I am happy to host it for you on my marketplace. Actually, it won't be on the marketplace. It will be as a link. So you wouldn't be able to access it here, but I can give you a hyperlink so that you could send that out to people, to potential, somebody wants to see some of your work. You can say, well, here's a link to access my or your e-learning, your e-learning prototype to demonstrate what you can do. And I'd be happy to host that for you for about a year, depending on how many I get. I think it'd be pretty easy. I have enough storage space to at least host a few projects in here for everybody. So if you do that, I'd be happy to host it for you, and you could just copy that URL, send it off to whoever you need, and potentially get some work out of it to demonstrate your material. So any other questions? Any other questions about e-learning prototyping? I know there's a lot of stuff that we covered there, and there's always more things to discover when it comes to e-learning prototyping and features in PowerPoint. PowerPoint is a robust tool, even without that iSpring suite options. Oh, good. I'm glad this saved. We had a kind of crash there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save the sample braided hair e-learning prototype that we designed, and I am going to put it up onto the close these out onto the LMS so that you all can access this and dissect what we did here, and so you can try it out for yourself. I happen to know if those shortcuts on PowerPoint are available on Mac. If you like, I'll open up my Mac here and give it a try. I normally have my Mac open, but I just wanted my desk space. So I will sign in and we'll give it a try during class or after class after we break. You'll stick around. We'll see if it works. I don't normally do most of my. Oh yeah, you want to share your screen? Go right ahead. Let's do that. Here, let me stop my share screen. I don't normally use Mac for my prototyping. I use my Mac for presenting. Simply because, well, first off, that iSpring suite isn't available on Mac, so I'm a little bit limited there. But I don't know, I'm just used to PC. It's what I use at my office. Mac is great, but it's not always the best. All right.
Yeah, I'm right clicking on these and I don't see, you right clicked and saw it pop up, right?
So what is it we're trying to do? Linking?
Those shortcuts, that ribbon you had down here with all of
yes. Okay. So they will appear on Mac at the very top. I have not figured out a way to get them down
here
below the ribbon. Yeah, I see they're right there. So if you go on to, let's say, text box, go to the text box. Right click on it.
So I'm trying to right click on it, but it doesn't do anything. Like
okay.
I'm double clicking because that's how you do it on Mac, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I use a three button mouse on my Mac.
Maybe if no.
I think you can do it that way. Click the three little dots. I forget what those dots are called. And more commands. Okay, got it. There you go. You can set it right there. And PC has a very similar way to do it too. If you wanted to do it through that more commands or the customized toolbar option, you can do it that way as well and pick and choose instead of right clicking. So there's always multiple ways to skin a cat in this game.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Oh, actually, can you share your screen one more time? I want to see if I want to show the class something on Mac.
Yes.
Okay. So just right click on the screen, and I don't see it on there. there used to be an option where you could show like all the different, maybe you have to put another level or another layer on there. So just throw another object on there or just copy and paste what you got. Or you can use that control and turn and move. That will do too. Oh,
Yeah.
reorder objects. That's it. Reorder objects.
Oh yeah. So where is
So
that?
no, right click on the screen.
Reorder. Okay, got
Reorder objects, and this is pretty cool.
it. Mm-hmm.
So now you have it all separated like that, and you can move the objects around on their own individual screen. That's a feature that is not on PC. It's just on Mac, and I love it. It's really helpful to visualize where these layers are located, and you will only be able to touch or manipulate the one that is on the front if it's covering something behind it. So this allows you to move it around and reorganize it. But the selection panel also does it too.
Great. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so that's gonna be it for class tonight. But I will stick around and meet with anybody or answer more questions. I'm gonna stop the recording right now.